This is Dr. Campbell, and I wanted to talk today about will the removal of the Confederate flag improve race relations? Now, in a recent article, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is calling for the removal of the Confederate flag from a monument in front of the State House. She proposes to have the battle flag placed in a museum. Removal of the Confederate flag will not improve race relations because the flag only represents a symbol of a system that continues to fuel racism. Now, according to the article, after Dylan Ruth, who murdered 9 people at the historic Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church, appeared in several photos holding Confederate flags and burning or desecrating U.S. flags, now they want to do this. Now, in the past, a former Republican governor, David Beasley, attempted to have the Confederate flag removed and was hounded out of office in 1998 by the Sons of the Confederate Veterans. Since the Charleston shooting, opinions on the Confederate flag have changed. In Mississippi, House Speaker Philip Gunn has called for the removal of the Confederate emblem from the state flag. In Tennessee, both Democrats and Republicans have called for the removal of the bust of the Confederate general and early Ku Klux Klan leader Nathan Bedford Forrest from an alcove outside the Senate's chambers. In addition, Walmart announced on Monday that it is removing any items from its store shelves and website that feature the Confederate flag. And so the next question is, why is the Confederate flag considered a symbol of racism? The Confederate flag is widely recognized symbol of the American South. In 1948, Strom Thurmond States Rights Party embraced the Confederate flag of Northern Virginia as a symbol of defiance against the federal government. In 1956, the Confederate flag was introduced to become an element of the state flag. And now this happened 2 years after the Supreme Court decision of Brown versus the Board of Education. It is thought that the introduction of this legislation was a protest against school desegregation. The flag was raised in protest at the University of Mississippi during school desegregation. Confederate flag supporters view it as a symbol of Southern heritage that is a distinct cultural tradition of the Southern United States from the rest of the country. Organizations such as the Ku Klux Klan use the cross to represent their values. The Confederate flag is given the same protection from burning and desecration as the U.S. flag. It is protected from being publicly mutilated, defiled, or otherwise cast in contempt by laws of Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, and South Carolina. According to Southern historian Gordon Ray, and this is what he said, it is no accident that Confederate symbols have been the mainstay of white supremacist organizations, from the Ku Klux Klan to the skinheads. They did not appropriate the Confederate battle flag simply because it was pretty. They picked it because it was the flag of a nation dedicated to their ideals. And that idea is that the Negro is not equal to the white man. The Confederate flag, we are told, represents heritage, not hate. But why should we celebrate a heritage grounded in hate, a heritage whose self-avowed reason for existence was the exploitation and debasement of a sizable segment of its population? As you can see, the Confederate flag represents a culture of people who hate black people. The discussions need to begin with what strategies could have been put in place to ensure that persons such as Daylon Ruth would not hate black people. Many people want to blame the parents and the family for hatred and racism, but there are other institutions that embrace racism against blacks. Schools are the main institutions that support racism against blacks. If it were not so, we would not have the education to prison pipeline that adversely affects blacks and minorities. If it were not so, we would not have the Raccelerate phenomenon. With a 78% white female teaching staff, it is those individuals who continue to be a support mechanism that continues to make a difficult outcome for blacks. Removal of the Confederate flag does not remove hatred that people possess for blacks. This is Dr. Campbell. You can read more information about racism on my website at www.positiveracialrelationships.com. If you want to talk about it, you can call me on my direct line, which is 856-566-3267. Have a great day, and thank you very much.
Yeah. Be sure to check out positiveracialrelationships.com. Check it. Look, pull your pencils out, class is in session. Let's focus on loving our neighbor without a question. Visit positiveracialrelationships.com. Leading classrooms together like a marriage bond. Kick racism out, that ain't what life's about. For more information, check the website out.